This is TickerNews Insight.
Hello and welcome back to TickerNews Insight, where we are looking to focus on the best of business and speak with people joining us from all over the world. I've been your host, Mike Loder, and to our latest story. And Joseph Santana is the CEO of Joseph Santana LLC. The company is a diversity, equity, and inclusion leadership development operation that owns a Chief Diversity Officer Association that provides 21st century support to its members' entire DEI team. Joseph joins us now to tell us how things are going. Good to see you.
Hi, Mike. How are you?
Doing very well, Joseph. Thanks for joining me. Now, there have been several DEI associations supporting CDOs out there for decades, I understand now. Why did you start the CDO PowerCircle? Run us through a little bit about what you're doing.
Yeah, I have the CDO PowerCircle because the 21st century calls for different types of skill sets than the ones that CDOs had and needed back in the last century. So in the last century, the focus of DEI was primarily in hiring and bringing people in and trying to acclimate them into the organization. So it was all very HR focused, and that's changed somewhat in the last couple of years. Today, the real benefit that an organization is going to get out of DEI is not only in bringing people in and making some good faith efforts to bring people in, but in being able to effectively leverage and deploy people from what's an increasingly diverse population, and also being able to leverage and address the needs of a diverse market. Because just like the employee demographics are changing, so are the marketplace demographics.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. So why is achieving DEI results increasingly crucial to the success of CEOs who perhaps want to grow their markets and, of course, bring and engage the best people to their workforce, especially at the moment?
Yeah, well, if you look at any chart that shows demographic movements going on either in the United States or around the world, you'll notice that the same phenomenon is happening. With every cohort, as you move back to younger and younger generations, they're more and more diverse. So the diversity of our markets and the diversity of the people that we as organizations are trying to bring in as part of our workforce is increasing. And in fact, in the United States, the US Census Bureau predicts that by 2045, which is not that far off, the majority is going to be made up of what was formerly the minority collectively. So in that environment, CEOs that are in companies who want to make sure that they're able to attract talent from that pool and support that talent so that they can leverage it fully, as well as address the needs of markets, need to be able to effectively draw from and address the needs of that pool. And that's the reason why matrices that are used to assess risks, like the environmental, social, and governance, or ESG matrices. In the social and governance space, what they're looking at are DEI efforts, and they're not looking at it from the standpoint of how does the organization look in terms of good faith and in terms of trying, but rather what results are they getting? Because that's what's going to ensure that that organization is able to continue to be productive and perform well economically going forward.
Into the future, of course. But why do you find it crucial for organizations' DEI efforts to provide training and development, of course, to the leaders and I guess the executive sponsors of employee resource groups, also called staff networks in some countries, I believe? Take us through a little bit about that, Joseph.
Yeah, because those groups, those staff networks or employee resource groups, whether it's the women's group, the veterans group, Black, Asian, depending on where you are, they take different shapes and forms. Those groups are literally the foot soldiers that make things happen in an organization. And they're also the ones that provide the organization with perspectives on the changes that are going on in the outside of the organization that affect both its market as well as the workforce that they're drawing from. And a DEI leader just cannot do all that by themselves. They need to have the support of all of those different leaders and sponsors of those various groups. And my analogy for that is really very simple. If you think of a DEI leader as if they were the maestro of an orchestra, and you took that maestro and taught them how to play the most complicated musical piece that you possibly can think of, and then you sent them back and you said, play it perfectly using the freshman high school band, that wouldn't happen, right? They wouldn't be able to do it. So in order for those DEI leaders who are ratcheting up and becoming more future foresightful and more leaders looking to get results, they need to have leaders of these other groups and these other pieces of the infrastructure that support them that are up to speed and being able to help them to achieve those higher goals.
Well said, and I love that analogy. Just to finish for me, where can people find out more about you and the work you're doing? Again, just to wrap it up for me.
Yeah, sure. So the easiest way to get me is go to my website, www.joesantana, one word with no spaces.com, or just look me up on LinkedIn. I'm very findable.
Wonderful stuff from you, mate. Thank you so much for joining us on the program and highlighting everything that's going on when it comes to DEI and everything. Yeah, it's definitely interesting times and we're moving forward. But thank you again, Joseph.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Mike.
And of course, thank you to all of you for tuning in. I hope you've learned something from our discussion today. I've been Mike Loader. I look forward to seeing you again soon. Be well.